Ashe and grand rising once again to you all, my very beautiful people. Yes, you, my highly enriched melanin people, you, the Earth's original and organic humans, aka my fellow Africans. It is I, the Mystic Philosopher. And yes, it is evident that I'm still here with you on this side of reality. And welcome back to the Mystic Peace, talking again another 15 minutes with I, the Mystic Philosopher. And this is episode 48. Now, the main topic of this series of talks is stress on the mind, or more correctly, the impact that this thing called stress has on the thing that we humans call mind. And that from the Mystic Philosopher's perspective, the solution to this problem, to this disease called stress can or it may be found in and by understanding and overstanding the want equation, namely want is equal to money, which is equal to stress, which is equal to unhappiness, and also by putting into practice the knowledge that can be gained from this profound equation. And the quote that I've been using is from the Adamic Race History and Holy Book, according to Psalm 23 and verse 1. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So far, I think that I may have sufficiently explain to you that these words and this language are not ours, that they belong to our foes, that we are explaining to you that we are not, and that we cannot be truly powerful and effective in our intentions and endeavors while using them, and that we are subjected and subjugated mentally, colonized and enslaved by them, etc. Now, please, I ask if you haven't done so yet, please listen to episode 47, my previous episode, and other previous episodes as well for more details on those points. I think that I have told you, or at the very least, I think that I have reminded you, my people and my listeners, of quite a few very important facts about the thing that we call words, and by extension, the thing that we called language. And I am sure that some of you, especially some of you that are the systems elected, trained, educated, approved, positioned, and sanctioned scholars, etc. No, this is as if these people would even listen to me. No doubt, you might have been saying that these facts are too trivial, too basic. They might be saying that it's too basic for them and that they were not even worth mentioning and asking, In fact, some time ago, while in a very emotionally charged discussion on the curse word black with one such individual, and to be precise, the individual being spoken of here was a melaninated brother from among us, a fellow Africans. Yes, one of the systems elected, well-trained, educated, approved, positioned, and sanctioned scholar who thought of himself as being so knowledgeable and so high up, and being motivated by his societal status. He could not disguise his cockiness, his insolence, his disgust, or his contempt for me, let alone having I, the Mystic Philosopher, and nobody. Not only telling him, but proving to him from every aspect of sound reasoning that the English word black, its sign and its symbol, is a curse word. And that we African people should not be knowingly and intentionally and intelligently calling ourselves black, or any or all of its synonyms and euphemisms, and that to do so is not at all wise. And to compound the unintended injury, he took very serious offense to me asking him these questions. Question: how much do you really know about the word? Do you really know what is a word? Do you really know its meaning and definition? Have you ever seriously thought about it? Have you ever seriously thought about what is a word? And as some of you can or may well imagine, he got really angry at me and told me that for me to be asking him such trivial questions, he considered it not only an insult, but it would be a waste of his time for him to even attempt at answering them. His response was interpreted, at least by me, as a confirmation of his ignorance. It is evident that, like many of you, my people, he had never really and seriously thought about them. And he may have honestly believed that he already knew the answers, when in fact he just did not know. This, from my perspective, also proved that it is the little things that we sometimes call the fundamentals, the basics, the rudimentary. Just like these, or just like those of us that are called and labeled by the system as the little people, the ignoble, the peasants, the commoners, the nobodies. We are indeed the ones that really and truly matters in the overall scheme of things. For without the little things, and without us, the little people, there would definitely not be any so-called big things or big people. And needless to say, being who and what he is, but from my perspective, even though he was functioning from a position of being ignorance, of both ignorance and arrogance, as it pertains to the word, and especially as it pertains to the word black, he very eloquently defended his blackness, claimed that even his soul was black, and asked only to be seen as black, be called black, and be referred to as black, as a black man, to be precise. And thus it is written and said by wise sages of old, reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. That is according to the Proverbs 8 and verse 8 to 9. Now, remember that I also told you and explained to you that we are mentally colonized, and consequently we are physically subjugated, and otherwise to our colonizers. I also told you and explained to you that it is words and language that program, govern, and control the thing called mind, aka our minds. And that whoever and whatever words and language that we are using to communicate and to manifest things, that we are slaves to those words and that language, and by extension we are slaves to the owners and masters of those words and that language. In fact, in some of my previous lectures, I told you that our children, or more correctly, our offspring, I told you that our offspring are not slow, they're not dumb and stupid, etc., as the evil system and its administrators, aka our enemies, would have some of us think, or have some of us to think or believe. But that it is because they do not know, or nor are they speaking and using their native and ancestral language and languages, or our ancestors' mother tongue, but more on that later. I also told you and explained to you in much detail that the reason why we are behaving out of our natural nature and character, and the reason why our children are doing the same, it is because we are not the ones that are in control of our minds, and our children are not the ones that are in control of their minds. Examples: the reason why we disrespect, destructively criticize, slander, hate, rob, kill, and murder each other, and do all manner of evil to each other, while at the same time we do the complete opposite to our real and most deadly enemies, is because we are trained, governed, and controlled to do so. We are not in control of our minds, and I explained that already, as a result of the language and the words that we are using from a child. In fact, from conception, we are governed and controlled mentally by our masters and colonizers to love our neighbors as ourselves. And to this day, some of us do not know or even have a clue as to who and what are our real neighbors. Some of us still believe that our neighbors are just the people that are living next door. But that's not necessarily true. Yes, that are the people that are, and to this day, some of us still believe that they are the people that live next door, or that our neighbors are our own people and our own flesh and blood. That's what we are taught to believe. Our neighbors that we have been our neighbors that we have been conditioned to love and respect, etc., are our enemies. And it is also written in the said Adamic race history and holy book, and I quote, "But I say unto you," and we have been taught this from an early age, "But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you," unquote. We have been taught that. Now, from my perspective, you have to be out of your mind. One have to be out of his or her mind, or something or someone else has to be in control of your mind for you to believe, accept, and practice this nonsense. However, as the evidence shows, we are not in control of our minds. Our minds and our children's minds are being manipulated and controlled by our mind controllers, aka the government, via the language. Note that I told you, or if you prefer, please note that I also reminded you that we live, sleep, dream, eat, think, work, you name it, with their words and in their language. If you agree that this is true, then can any one of us sensibly claim that we are free? They, meaning the government, aka our mind controllers, are still our masters, and like it or not, we are their slaves. So even though we are blaming ourselves and our children for behaving out of our natural character, if at all you understand, and understand what I've just said to you, then you will know that we are just victims of the evil system. But much more on that at another time. So, the word want is a word that is strategically placed in our minds to both deceive us and to have us being slaves, and for us to continue wanting everything, but can never have anything, including wanting to be free. But more again at this point in my next episode. Again, thus far in today's episode, I honestly think that I have given you, or at the very least, I honestly think that I may have given some of you, if not all of you, a lot more to think about and possibly a lot more to look forward to in the next episode, especially as it relates to stress, the seed called want, and the want equation, etc. And so in the interest of time, I think I should pause here for today and ask that you please join me if or when next I am talking again, possibly in episode 49, where and when I will be talking and sharing with you more of my perspective, this time and continue on this same magical, mystical and metaphysical aspect of the word want, and of course the command and commandment, you shall not want. For, as I said to you, I shall not want, you shall not want, we shall not want, and nor should we be found wanting. In the meantime and between time, my people, please let me again remind you, please, my people, that yesterday's history, it too is dead and gone, no more to come back. Tomorrow is a mystery, it too may never come. But today is a gift, which is why we call it the present day. And so I hereby implore you to live for today, and by live I mean to claim your natural birthright. And just in case you forget what that it is your happiness. Claim your happiness. Let no one steal your joy, and full joy today, and let's hope for tomorrow, because it too may never come. Neither for you nor for I. I am. Thanks for listening and thanks for your time. I am the Mystic Philosopher. Ashe. 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 I say.